Welcome to the best gambling show on the internet. This is the home of the money pick. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe. How is everyone doing? This is pretty much the last real week of football. We got the Super Bowl coming up in 2 weeks' time, but we know this is the ceremonial goodbye. But let's have some fun. Let's get some bets. I'll have some prop bets. I made a list of props I've liked. I made a separate YouTube short for the props in the Chiefs-Bengals game, so go check that out if you're interested. But we got a lot to talk about tonight. I hope everyone's doing good. I'm sure a lot of people will want to talk about that San Fran 49ers game. I think people are misinterpreting my thoughts on that game. I really do. I just want to wait till more people get in here before I talk about that. Because I feel like I've been really miscategorized in the comment section with that game. Secondly, listen, we can talk about this right now. I think Andy Reid is playing an okie doke on Joe Public. I don't know about you guys, but did you guys see the video of Mahomes' practice session on that bad ankle? Was I the only one who wasn't convinced? Because right after that video came out and right after they took him off the injury list, we see that spread move 3 times. We saw that spread move 3 times. So, yeah, Jake Kick says Mahomes is 80% at best. Yeah, and I think the key word of what you're saying there is at best. It's going to be complicated for him. It's going to be extremely complicated. I don't think people are looking at the full spectrum of this game either. Listen, like I said in the prop video, I really like Mahomes over 24.5 receptions. But I don't think this is going to be some sort of monster game from Mahomes or anything like that. I think Big Red will have a plan. I think there'll be a lot of short passing. I really like Kadarius Toney's over player props because of that. I think he'll be heavily involved. But I still think the Chiefs are going to have some serious problems that have nothing to do with Mahomes. And I get the argument, man. I've been getting it all week. It's really tough to beat a team 4 times in a row, of course. My dad's been saying the three times in a year rule since I was 6-7 years old. I understand that it is real. There is no science to back it up, but I'll tell you from anecdotal evidence, it is extremely real, and it's not something I discount. But it's just no one's really given me a matchup advantage for the Chiefs in this game. No one's really tried to do it. It's kind of like the same stuff with the Bills game last week. Listen, if you get the Bengals +6, +5.5, there should have been no reason why you didn't bet that. I understand if you weren't running with me coming in the trench with Bengals money line. It's +280, +300 for a goddamn reason. It was a little bit of a long shot. But you just got to break down these games, and you're going to need advantages to win. And I'm not seeing all that many advantages. And let me talk about the Bengals. I've been saying all year, especially after Awuzie got banged up, their best corner, I've been saying all year, this Bengals secondary kind of stinks. It does. But yeah, week in and week out, we see this secondary close to people. We see the defensive coordinator coming up with a good scheme every single week, and they don't really get thrashed in the secondary. So, and eventually, I've been saying all year, Tyreek the Thrill Hill is an absolute force of nature, and he's a top 10 player in this league, out if you don't include quarterbacks. Eventually, that's going to have a factor for the Kansas City Chiefs, and I think that's a big factor this game that no one's looking at. Yeah, I get it. Can't bet against Mahomes, but if you bet Mahomes against the spread the last 2 years, you would be living in a homeless shelter. Yeah, it's going to be a good game. It's going to be a good game for sure. It's going to be a good game. What's up, Ron? What's up, Tasha? What's up, ACF? Listen, before the playoffs started, I called the 49ers Bengals. I'm staying there. Seems like a lot of public money is running towards the Eagles, which, is a bit of a surprise to me because I started the Jalen Hurts fan club when he was a rookie, but even I'm a little bit nervous about the Eagles' chances. I do think that 49ers Eagles game is the definition of a coin flip. I really do. Yeah, and the Bengals have a clear shot. 49ers, that game's going to be really difficult. It's not going to be an easy game. I, yeah, no, Brock Purdy isn't anything to write home about. We've seen San Fran get to a Super Bowl, Jimmy Garoppolo, though. So there are a lot of factors at play. I am worried about Brock Purdy. Eric, who brings that up, and other people who bring it up, it's completely relevant. I mean, that's the reason why the public money is all over the Eagles. Like, I'm not arguing with anyone about that. I'm not arguing with anyone about that. Yeah, and for me, man, I'm looking at this game, and like I said, I keep saying I think you can run it against the Eagles front seven. I'm going to be proven wrong. Like, listen, if you think this Eagles front seven has a good game against the run, even an above average game, stopping San Fran's run, then you should put a ton of money on the Philadelphia Eagles. But that's my concern about them. And I'm not betting the game. Like I said, I had one money pick on Tuesday. One money pick on Tuesday, and that was Cincinnati when they were at +1. That's what I had. I want nothing to do with this 49ers Eagles game. We can talk about all the matchups. If you told me on paper in a perfect world which team is the better squad, I would say the Eagles are the better squad. I would not argue with anyone about that, and I get your guys' inclinations. I was kind of curious. One thing I've been watching all week, and I'm not trying to be one of those odds nerds, but that 49ers game has been +2.5 all week. But it was +2.5 at like +100, -105. Normally, those games end up moving up to +3. I am surprised it hasn't. And like with most 49ers games, there's going to be the high leverage bettors, so to speak, who are backing the 49ers. They do it by default. But I would not let that scare you away from betting the Eagles if you think the Eagles are going to win. Like so-called sharps and high leverage bettors always back the Patriots, and it doesn't mean the Patriots cover many spreads, right? So, yeah, no, I know, Jay. But at a certain point, why are they giving so much value? Because we could just buy the half point, and they could just buy the half point. Yeah, I mean, dude, heavy money's already on the Niners. Like, listen, I've been betting the 49ers since Shanahan's gone there. Sometimes you win it, sometimes you lose it, but more times than not, that man will pull out spreads for you. And you guys know I like Sirianni, but is anyone else a little bit nervous about Sirianni in this matchup? Just a little bit. On Instagram, I had a little bit of criticism for Shanahan against the Cowboys, but I still felt like he managed the game well. I felt like he clenched up a little bit. But then again, if I had Brock Purdy as my quarterback, I would clench up quite a bit as well. I can't blame him there. But I wonder who has the coaching advantage in this game. That's where I'm looking at. And I think there's a key to the game. Like, my main recipe for the Eagles is they have to throw it vertically. They have to. And the Eagles have done that at times this year, and that's when they look the best. When they're throwing it down the field, when A.J. Brown's involved, when Devontae Smith is getting a few touches, Goddard across the middle, that's when they're at their best, contrary to public belief. We know the Eagles are a running football team, and I'm not asking them to go out and throw it 45, 50 times like the motherfucking Chiefs. I'm not asking for anything along those lines, but what I am asking for is an aggressive, expansive game plan from Sirianni and the Eagles, and you have to understand the weakness of the San Francisco 49ers. The 49ers had the best front seven in the league. Really. And if you look at them against the run, they're just as good against the run as they are on the pass rush. But I feel like this Eagles offensive line, if they have run-pass balance, I feel like they can hold up against the Bosa brother and Armstead. I really do. So if they're able to hold up, you have to make the 49ers secondary pay for it. And that's my big question. Is Sirianni, is Hurts, are they confident enough to really throw this ball down the field? Are they confident enough and with enough gusto to push the envelope and get this ball down the field? Do they know that the weakness of the 49ers is their secondary? I assume they do. I assume that. But are they going to take advantage of it? Earlier in the year, they were throwing it all over the park. Look what they did to my Vikings. Look what they did the first 6 weeks of the year. And then they started clenching up. So how do the Eagles have a better pass rush? Who's a better pass rusher than Bosa or Armstead? And you understand Bosa's a top 5 pass rusher in this league, right? One of those guys makes a huge bit of difference. And it's easy for the Eagles to rush the passer because they've been up 14, 17 points in the first half this year. That's obviously going to skew stats. I can't believe someone said the Eagles have a better pass rush. I can't believe that. Like, you could think the Eagles are a better team, but to say that aspect is better than the 49ers is fucking lunacy. I do think the Eagles have a better secondary. I don't think that's a crazy opinion. But that Eagles secondary has struggled at times this year. And they have dealt with quite a bit of injuries. Yeah, I mean, it's just, Bosa is a generational player. That's like saying, okay, let's throw out a stat padding. Okay, that's like saying the Chiefs receiving core is better than the Dolphins receiving core because the Chiefs receiving core gets better stats. So they get more catches, so they're better than the Dolphins receiving core without looking at the games, without looking at the situations, without understanding how this game is actually played. Like, I think saying Philly's pass rush, I think that's equal to saying like the Chiefs receiving core is better than the Dolphins receiving. I'm surprised by that comment. Yeah, I know the Eagles secondary is really not all that good. I don't think there's any dogs in there. I don't think there's anyone that can change games. Sean, player props. I did a player prop for that Bengals Chiefs game, a YouTube short. I really like those ones. I'll give you a player prop I really like, just to change the direction of this, because we're going to talk about the 49ers Eagles a lot. Just waiting for people to get in the chat. One I really like is Mahomes over 24.5 completions, because I don't think Mahomes is going to be healthy. I don't think the Chiefs are going to run the ball like some of their fans are saying. I think it's going to be very hard for them to get a consistent push against DJ Reader and that Bengals front seven. I don't see that happening, even if the Bengals are playing soft boxes. So I think the Chiefs are going to have a lot of short passes. I like the Kadarius Toney player props as well. I think he's going to be involved. I think we're going to see a lot of that. I would go Mahomes over 24.5 completions. That's one I like. In the video, I get to other ones. We'll talk about it all night. Michael Zing, Brock Purdy over 8.5 rushing yards. Well, that one's tough. I would lean towards yes, but that's not what I would target. Lawson, Mahomes completions are 25.5 now. How do you feel about that? Oh, God. Dude, these player props. I swear to God, I do a video. I did that video early today. I did the video. No, I didn't do it all that early. I did it at like 1 o'clock Eastern time. I don't know if anyone watched the video. I did the video at 1 o'clock Eastern time. It was 24.5 on $3. And then the minute I do it, it pops up. I don't know. I don't like it as much, Kyle. I don't like it as much. I don't like it as much. Alistair, what's up, Alistair? How you doing, my man? Mad Marlew, hey man, John, let's get that money out. I mean, last week was big. Last week we put an absolute thumping to the Bucks, and I feel like we were counterintuitive all last week, and that's why we won. Hit the Jaguars spread, hit that Bengals money line, which was huge. On Patreon, I did the Eagles Chiefs teaser. Still had to sweat that one out with the Chiefs, but luckily it came through. Yeah, man, it was a fun week last week, and that Bengals Bills game was an instant classic. Instant classic. Alistair Hall, I feel money is going to be involved in this one. In what way? Can you please elaborate, my friend? And thank you for the super chat. Yeah, well, can I be honest with you guys? I wanted your guys' opinion on this. Since I got all of you guys in the chat now. Listen, okay, of course, I had the Bengals Chiefs over when I did the over-under on Wednesday. I had the under on the 49ers Eagles. Am I the only one who feels like both games are going to go over? And I'm starting to feel confident about it. I'm starting to feel confident about it for some reason. I just wanted your guys' opinion on that. Oh, refs. Yeah, well, refs can always be involved. I was surprised they weren't more involved in that Bengals-Bills game. I'm really surprised about that. So, okay, this is from AD. Last 3 games against Bengals, Mahomes completes 26, 26, and 16. Interesting. So maybe I did get a good look with the 24.5, but they took it off the damn book. Yeah. I got one player prop I already put in on Patreon. Hopefully that didn't move. Yeah, no, overs are fun, but unders make money. Yeah, Eric, people get mad at me because I pick a lot of unders, but at a certain point, you have to look at both perspectives. It can only go one or two ways, and everyone wants to bet over, no matter what. Like an under, I like if we're talking player props. I like the under on Juju Smith-Schuster. I like the under on Miles Sanders carries. I think Miles Sanders is at like under 14.5 carries. Those are 2 unders in the player prop that stuck out to me. Valdez-Scantling under. Like, I think this is going to be a Kadarius Toney type game, Travis Kelce type game. I agree. Alistair, thank you for the super chat. I agree with you on the over in these games. What's up, Daniel? What's up? The audio quality is good, at least, right? Yeah. Go Birds. Yeah, man. I saw your comment. I saw your comment on the spread video on Tuesday. It was interesting, man. And now that I can say it, I think people are misinterpreting my Eagles 49ers pick. I think people are really misinterpreting it. Bengals to beat the Chiefs was a money pick. Same thing last week against the Bills. Even Bengals money line was a money pick. But for me, man, I just feel like this 49ers Eagles game is a coin flip ball game. I think it is a coin flip ball game. And I think, listen, we got to give the Eagles credit for what they did last week to the Giants. The Giants, although they don't have a lot of talent, they are a pesky team, and it is hard to completely just blow them out like that. But can we just take a step back and just say, okay, let's not get overly excited about the Giants. Like, what if the Giants went to the 49ers? Like, the 49ers would probably buzzsaw them. So I just think people are overreacting to this Eagles performance against the Giants. And there's people thinking that this game isn't going to be a one-possession game. Like, for me, this is one-possession game. This is coming down to the fourth quarter. I mean, that's why I wouldn't smug my nose if someone did like a 49ers Chiefs teaser this week. Because I think both games are going to be close. Both games are going to be one-possession games. Yeah, and I'll tell you what, though. I'll tell you what. You want to know if I will not be betting the 49ers. I'm just watching this game for fun. I got to say, 49ers Eagles is probably the most excited I've been for a game this year. So I'm not holding a ticket, but I'll tell you something that would scare me if I was holding a 49ers ticket. If the Eagles get out 7-0, 10-0 in that game, I worry about the 49ers. I do worry about them. Like, firstly, anyone who's watched the Eagles this year know they're the best first half team, best scripted play team in the league. Like, you could say the Vikings, you actually could say the Titans in terms of first quarter script. But really, in the first half, when we're talking script plays, it's been the Eagles and the Vikings at 2. And if the Eagles get up in games, we know how dangerous they can get. We know how dangerous they can get. And that's when the Brock Purdy factor really comes. I don't think Shanahan's going to get away from the run. I think the Eagles could be up 17-0, and Shanahan would still stay calm, still stay with the run, try to work play action. But I do worry about the 49ers if it's like first quarter with 2 minutes left and they're down 10-0 and Brock's getting the ball and he's kind of first to respond. I do worry about that. Yeah. Zamora, 60-90. Lawson, 49ers and Philly go to OT. Okay. Philadelphia scores first in the 49ers match touchdown and go for 2-point conversion and head to the Super Bowl. I'm surprised we haven't seen any games with the new OT rule. Well, if there's going to be an overtime, I think this week would be the week, right? Yeah, hit that like button. Hit that like button. Hit that like button. Alistair Hall, San Fran going to lose too much money on the 49ers. Well, what's the situation with that? Because, listen, I don't look at what percentage bets what team. I don't look at that. On Friday, I know about it because you guys tell me about it. I don't let that get in my head. But secondly, are you talking about just pure money? Or are you talking about the percentage of bets? Because I would guess the higher percentage of bets is on the Eagles. Like, I read the comment section every single week. Firstly, because people do come out with some good information, and I like hearing counter arguments. But secondly, I do like to know who's betting what. And from my perception, I would say like 80% of the YouTube channel is behind the Philadelphia Eagles to cover, win, whatever. So, of course, there's going to be big money guys on San Fran. I mean, for me, I've been betting San Fran since Shanahan's been there. I wouldn't be surprised with that. But can our small percentage of big bets make up more than Joe Public slamming 40 or 50 on FanDuel? I guess that's my question to you. Guess that's my question. Yeah, no, it really does. I mean, like I said, like Kyle, I wasn't going too deep into it. Like, I don't let that shit get in my head. But I do read the YouTube comments, and it seems like 80% of the YouTube channel is behind the Eagles in this game, which is surprising because this channel was built pretty much on us betting the 49ers 3 years ago. That's why this channel's at 22,000 subscribers right now. Yeah, I do wonder where the big money is going. I mean, there's always been sharps betting the 49ers, but I don't want that to scare you away if you're betting the Eagles, because there's always so-called sharps or high leverage players betting the Patriots, and we take their money 4 or 5 times a year pretty easy without even sweating. Cash money. I'm betting my life savings on the 49ers. That's balls, man. That's balls. What's up, Cash Money? I haven't seen you in a while, my man. You've been here since the original channel. How you doing, Cash? Are you doing good, man? Or are you up against the wall and you feel the need to bet that? Did you at least bet me on the Bengals last week when I had Bengals money line? Did you at least follow me into that trench? Okay, let's get to the Patreon questions. Thank you, everyone, for joining in. Hope everyone has a good Friday night. Let's get to the Patreon questions. In the live chat, tell me, I'm talking spread. Who you got to cover the spread? Who you got to cover the spread? Eagles or Philly? And don't be shocked. Like I said, I think this is a coin flip game. Like that's why I wanted to talk about this game so much. You guys know I always have an opinion, and I see both sides of a matchup. I've always been that way, and that's why we made a ton of money in this channel's history. But I gotta tell you what, this coin flip game to me, like, I don't even think there's like a 52%, 48% edge for like the Eagles or 49ers this game. This is 50-50, and this is coming down to the last drive. It's 50-50 coming down to the last drive. That's why I didn't disagree with Zamora at all when he said this bad boy could go to OT. I subbed for the tagline, not the 49ers. Yeah, that's true. But King James, how long have you been here? How long have you been here? I've seen you a while, though. Thank you for subbing, man. I really appreciate it. You always come in with some good comments. Always like your comments. Hammer's got Philly. What's up, Gabe? Hope everything's good with you. I followed you on Instagram, Gabe. I'm sure you were jumping with joy for that. Demetrius Campbell's got the 49ers. Okay, okay. Ooh. Yeah, I don't know if there's a worse game to bet on than the Eagles 49ers. But Jay Casanova says 49ers. Ryan Coase says the Eagles. Steve says San Fran. Quincy says 49ers all the way. Deshae Bell says, but even the Bengals game is scary. Yes. That's probably why you're good at betting. You should be fucking petrified of every single game you bet. I was really confident in the Bengals +6 last week. It didn't mean I wasn't petrified of it. We know how this league is. This isn't like betting Barcelona against a low-tier Spanish side where they're going to win 8-0. Every game is a dogfight. Every point is a dogfight. That's the proper attitude to have when betting. That means you're going to make money. Bobby Long says San Fran KC Super Bowl rematch. Eagles Chiefs Super Bowl. Okay, yeah. I just want to know who's going to win the 49ers Eagles game. Okay. Okay, let me get to the Patreon questions. Yo, what's good, play? This is from Lino. What's up, Lino? Yo, what's good, Playboy? Hope all is well with you. Shout out to all the Patreon peeps who stuck it out after this quirky season. Yeah, shout out to the Patreon users. Season of feast or famine. Yeah, it's 4-1 or 2-3. It's just been that year. And some butt mangling. I will keep my subscription to Patreon and ride shotgun with you on any and all football picks and count down for next football season. I appreciate it, my guy. Let's get fucking hyped and let's fucking go. Let's stack these money bets. Yeah, man, I'm looking forward to soccer this year. APL, EPL, Brazilian League. I've been watching pretty much every single English Premier League game the last 3 weeks, gearing up for it. Think we're going to win a lot of money. Subscribe to Lawson Bet Soccer. I'll be doing picks there. Everyone on Patreon will get my picks, and I think we're going to win a lot of soccer money this year. Mike 87. I'm nervous being all on the Square Public side this week. Got Cincy money line and Philly -2.5. Also betting Debo over 20.5 rush yards. Firstly, Mike, how are you doing, my man? Mike, I love the Debo over 20.5 rushing yards. Every single game, he gets 4 or 5 touches there. So I think he'll be good. Got Cincy money line. I don't think that's bad. I haven't seen the public, though. I haven't seen the public breakdown of Cincy KC, so I can't comment. In terms of the Philadelphia Philly game against the Niners, like I said, I think that's a coin flip game. I'm not betting it. I know my job is to get on Patreon and bet as much as possible, but sometimes you got to know when to stay away from a game. And that's something I think I'm pretty good at, knowing when to stay away. That's what's reading me in the Eagles 49ers. No, I've seen these games end in blowouts. And if a team doesn't show up, one team is going to get blown out. But if both teams show up, I don't see how this isn't a field goal game. I don't see. But yeah, maybe, Mike, if you already got the Eagles in and you feel good about it, you shouldn't let that affect you unless you're really, really worried about the officiating. That's where I'm at. Officiating was pretty good last week, all things considered. So that's where I'm at. Okay, here we go. Derek, John, what's up, brother? What are your thoughts on this 6-point teaser? Philly +3.5, under 52.5. I would, Derek, I'm cautious about that. Over under now. I was feeling better about it during the week, but I think both games go over. But with the 52.5, you should be good. Philadelphia +3.5 makes sense to me, although you're losing a point going opposite directions. I don't have a problem with that. I think you're good on that. I think that game ends by a team winning on a field goal, Derek. So I think you're good, and I think you'll swat the over-under, but you should be good with the under. KC +4.5. Yes, but I think you have to prepare for just a debacle in that game because, like I said, on Patreon the other day, and I said on Instagram, I'm not necessarily sure this Mahomes injury is as easygoing as everyone else is saying. I'm not a doctor. I'm not in Pat Mahomes' body. But I'll tell you what, Andy Reid hoodwinked some people. I think this injury is way serious. Like we had a YouTube commenter say he thinks Mahomes is 80% at best. Keyword at best. So that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at. I think 80% is at best. And is that enough for them to beat the Bengals? To cover the 4.5, it should be, unless you get a debacle. Okay, Derek says, bumped ankle or not, it's hard to beat the same team 4 times in a row in a span of 1 year, especially a good team like KC at Arrowhead. You're completely right. KC exposes the Bengals' weakened O-line with Jones and Clark in ways the Bills couldn't. I think Rousseau is better than I think Rousseau is better than Frank Clark, but you do have a point with Chris Jones, and they'll probably line up Chris Jones where Alex Kappa will be out, right? You got to think. What are your thoughts? Yeah, man. You pretty much know what I'm going to say. Like I think the Bengals have more playmakers. I've seen like we've been through this song and dance before. Like I've seen Joe Burrow get sacked 9 times and win a game. And I do think at a certain point, the Chiefs will pay for this Tyreek Hill trade. They needed to. They needed the cap. I get all the arguments for it, but I think they're going to have to pay for it, man. And they're not playing the Jags. The Jags aren't going to they aren't playing the Jags this week, Derek. Travis Kelce isn't going to get 14 or 15 points. And I just don't like it when bettors revert to like using trends in any sort of bet. Like, for instance, you're using the trend of Cincy beating the Chiefs like 3 or 4 straight times in a row and saying, well, it can't continue, right? Like, I don't like trend betting. I'm against it, and it doesn't work, even though the Chiefs could very well win the game. I just don't think Mahomes is healthy enough, man. And I don't think they got the playmakers that the Bengals do. And also, which secondary do you trust more? You know, Chiefs never have had that great a secondary. But I'm going to go deep into it now because I think this is a relevant point. You guys who've watched this show have heard me just rant on all year, especially once Awuzie was hurt for the Bengals, that I think this Bengals secondary is trash. On paper, they are. But when they step on the field, they play great as a unit. We saw what Eli Apple did last week to Stephon Diggs. Who would have ever predicted that? I had Bengals money line, but who would have ever predicted Eli Apple getting the better of Stephon Diggs? This Bengals defense is really, really well coached, and they mix up schemes, and they play a great zone defense. And when I look at the Chiefs, I do think you're right, Derek. I do think the Chiefs have some interesting things in terms of pass rush for this game. But I don't think this Chiefs secondary can match up with Joe Burrow. And we know what Steve Spagnuolo is going to do. He's going to play a lot of man-to-man. Correct? Am I wrong, Chiefs fans? Am I wrong, Bengals fans? Steve Spagnuolo is going to play a lot of man-to-man, maybe even too deep. A lot of teams have been playing too deep against Joe Burrow. It worked for like the first 4 weeks, and then he adjusted to it. And so we just keep seeing the Bengals move the ball, and I don't think the Chiefs have the dogs to match up man-to-man against the Bengals. Like T. Higgins is a legit one. Jamar Chase is an absolute luxury option at wide receiver. Hayden Hurst is the X factor in this game. And I also think the Bengals run this rock better than the Chiefs. I was very, very encouraged by what I saw from the Bengals in the run game last week. I was very, very encouraged. And I'm not saying it's going to continue this week. We know the Chiefs are physical on defense. They're not going to go down without an absolute battle royal. But I just don't think the Chiefs are going to get this run game going to help Mahomes. I think there's going to be a lot of short passes. I think the Chiefs are too much based on rhythm. I'm the biggest Andy Reid fan there is. But I've been saying since this channel started, his teams, they fade in and out of games. They've been doing that since Terrell Owens and McNabb didn't get a ring. They fade in and out of games, and the Bengals are the last team you can do that against. They are. And I think the Bengals are going to have a plan. I think they're going to have a quick pass game, and I think they're going to have holes. And if Spagnuolo starts sending blitzes like he has done a lot, good night, sweetheart. Because Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, against this secondary without a safety up top and up deep, I just think the Bengals get the bigger chunk plays. And one thing people are confusing with Pat Mahomes is an absolute magician at quarterback. Yes, Pat Mahomes creates a ton of big plays. But a lot of those big plays come from him creating something out of nothing. A lot of those big plays come from him on the scramble, rolling right and slinging it 60 yards across the fucking field. Is that going to be in play this game? Do you like Juju Smith-Schuster? Do you like Valdez-Scantling? I do think there are some matchup issues, and I get what you're saying. Like, I think Kadarius Toney's going to have a big game. But do the Chiefs get anything big down the field without Mahomes' magic? I just can't see it happening. Even last year, during the last 8 to 10 games of Tyreek Hill's tenure, teams changed the way they played the Chiefs. They don't blitz. They rush for 2 deep safeties, soft man-to-man underneath, and make them work it down the field slowly. Did Tyreek Hill get deep on the Bengals last game? I mean, that's where I'm at. I think there's going to be some serious issues, and I think the Bengals grind it out, and dare I say, the Bengals have a little – no, I don't want to say it this way. Live chat, am I crazy? I'm not saying Zach Taylor's better than Andy Reid. Can we just throw that out in the corner before I make this statement? But what I am saying, I don't know if there's a better defensive coordinator in this league than Cincy's defense coordinator. And I think it's a borderline crime. He hasn't been seriously considered for a head coaching job yet. Like, if Eberflus got interviews 3 straight years, why isn't he? Why aren't teams clamoring over him? Yeah, man. Yeah, but Terry, even before that game, I said, the Ravens, after they got Roquan Smith and after their secondary got healthy, I did say the Ravens were a top 5 defense. And the Ravens defense is really the only defense that plays Burrow good. I don't think the Chiefs defense can push the same sort of buttons, especially in the back end, that the Ravens can. It is a point, but I mean, the Chiefs didn't look all that great against Jacksonville last week either. I mean, are the Bengals going to let Travis Kelce get 14, 15 touches? Here we go. Okay, let's get it. This is from Frontal Monkey. Yahoo Pick'em. Are these money? 49ers plus 2.5. I would go 49ers. I'm not really too interested in betting that game. Like I said, I think it's going to be a coin flip, my friend. Bengals minus 1.5. Yeah, I like the Bengals. Of course, I like the Bengals now after the 3-point shift, but the Bengals would be the one game I would target this week. No. RG. I don't think Spagnuolo is a way better coach than the Bengals. Steve doesn't disguise coverage. And that's great if you have fucking dogs. But they don't got dogs on defense. I don't think Steve is all that great defense coordinator. Nah, I don't think he's all that great, man. I don't think so. And at the end of the day, like you could say, oh, the Bengals have more dogs on defense. Okay. And what did Steve do against Joe Burrow last year or this year? I mean, what did he dial up the last game? Which team made the big play? The Bengals made the big play on defense, and the Chiefs' defense didn't have anything to stop them. Burrow was just straight up slinging it the whole game. No stops from the Chiefs. Zach Taylor made some bonehead moves that kept the Chiefs in the game. Trust me, I was the Chiefs better that game. But we got to look at what transpired on film. There wasn't a whole lot from Steve. And I don't think we're going to see a whole lot. And I don't think that's debating my point. Like, Bengals mix up coverages really well. They do. They mix up coverages really well. The Chiefs just play man-to-man, and they don't disguise it, and that's fine if you got, like, a prime Adam Pac-Man Jones and another good corner and a good nickel, but they don't got any of those things. There's no honey badger covering up spots. There's no honey badger fooling quarterbacks and quarters coverage. There's none of that. When you lose dogs like Tyreek the Thrill Hill, honey badger, it makes a difference in these big games. It does, man. No, but RG, you're right. Steve is a good defense coordinator. Unfortunately, I remember when he was a head coach. But yeah, man, like Steve Spagnuolo is a good defense coordinator. There isn't a lot of talent on that Chiefs defense, and there really hasn't been. There just really hasn't been ever since he's been there. I'm starting to think that. I'm starting to think of Luan. Dude, I can't say his name. I lived in an Italian city my whole life. I cannot say this man's name, but it's crazy what they've done. It's crazy. $2,000, $5,000, or $10K Bengals money line. 2,000. You're going. You're Johnny. You're going that big. I do want your guys' opinion, though. I guess I want your guys' opinion on this. Are you buying the Pat Mahomes injury stuff? Are you guys buying the Pat Mahomes injury stuff? Like, oh, he's better. He's off the injury report. Everything's good. He's going to be healthy in this game. That's where I'm at. I don't know if I'm buying it. Scott Jensen, Jamar Chase over 100. But it's over 100 receiving yards, yes. But it's at 83.5. When I made the video earlier today, it was at 83.5. I would go under. Hurts, over 1.5 passing yards. I'd go under, Jordan. Okay. Luke Lorisic, Jalen Hurts, anytime touchdown plus 110. I love it. I love that. I like that, man. Daniel says, should we be eyeballing the over in KC Cincinnati? Yes, Daniel, yes. These are questions I missed earlier in the week. These are good questions. Okay, here we go. Yeah, I think that's all. Let me get to the rest of the Patreon questions. Mhm. Okay, let's get to Kona K808. If you got the worst of the Bengals at -2, are you going to throw more money on the Bengals plus 1.5? Yes. Yes, because if I had more soccer bets this weekend, I probably won it. Especially if you look at the math of those two spreads. If it was like, if I got the Bengals -3 and now it was like Bengals +2, I would, of course, religiously throw money down. So yeah, Lauren, Lauren. Yeah, you can come on. I just got to finish the Patreon questions. I'm almost done. Yeah, so that would be it. Okay. I think you had another question. Kona K808. Thank you for your entertaining videos this year. Can you please tell us your win-loss record of your money picks on YouTube? Yes, I can. The win-loss record this year was 51 and 43, including playoffs so far. So I didn't do the percentage, but that's what a guy, he keeps track of it. He comments every week. That's what we're at. Last year, it was a lot better. Last year, I remember we were at like fucking like 64 and 48. And this year, I've even had less money picks, but that's where we're at. So, not the best year, not the greatest year, not the worst year. And plus, the problem with this year, man, has been either you're 4-1 or you're like 1-3. That's been the whole problem this whole damn year, man. It's hard to get consistency. Okay, here we go. Okay, let me just get to, and Lino Frosto, if you're watching, man, Lino Frosto, are you Brazilian or are you Colombian? I know you live in Chicago, but like, are you Brazilian? And if you're on my Instagram, send me a message. Stephen Laidlaw, with Eagles setting records for most games with 150 yards rushing before contact. Then the defense has 4 players with 10 plus sacks. I can't back a rookie on the road in Philly. I so want the 49ers to win, just not for my bankroll. Yeah. Steve, I think you're right. That's the conclusion I came to. I'm not trying to weasel my way out of bets, but that's the conclusion I came to. So that's where I'm at. Lino Frosto, off topic. Is the city where you live easy to get around town? Do you drive or Uber everywhere? Do they have Big Macs at their McDonald's? Okay. So the city where I live is called Fortaleza. It has 3 million people, and it's not easy to get around. My wife has a car. It's an old Fiat Mille. I don't know if you had it in the United States, but it still drives really good. That's her car. If I need to go somewhere else, like a soccer game, I tend to use Uber. But the traffic is really bad here. And the problem with this city, even in Brazil, it has a bad reputation, is every single stoplight, every single place you go, there's going to be people asking you for money. A lot of people with like one leg asking you for money. So sometimes it gets really sad, man. And that's where I'm at. I'm going to get Lauren on. I'm going to get Lauren on, then I'll get Michael Mann on. I can't stay on like an hour. So I need you guys to make your points like in like 15 minutes. Unfortunately, I have to go do something with bureaucracy tonight. Okay, Lauren. Let me get Lauren, your email has the 2 at the end, right? Okay. Live call-in show. Okay. Let me just send it. Oh, and the McDonald's does, but my wife has like a conspiracy theory. My wife, she thinks the McDonald's is changing. They changed the meat. Dude, it was really bad the last time we went. So I'm like a Burger King guy here. Got a Burger King close to my house, so I'm a Burger King guy all the way. So yeah, man. I don't know about Campbell, man. I like not trying to be mean to him. I don't know about Campbell. I love Campbell, but he doesn't let other people talk. So doesn't really work with 3 people on the stream. I sent the email. So yeah. ACIFI 5. If the Bengals win, do you think they can beat 49ers or Eagles? Yeah, I do. I do. But here's with this caveat. But they're going to need Jonah Williams and they're going to need Kappa maybe to play. They're going to need one of them to play. Because like you guys mentioned, Eagles got a good pass rush, and we know the 49ers pass rush is elite. So yeah, I used to. I want to start an NBA channel. I just have to get back in NBA. I used to love it when I was like 14, 15, 16. I used to have League Pass. I just kind of fell out of love with the NBA. But for you people, for you guys who bet the NBA, I have lots of respect for you because that would make me anxious. It's tough. Like, it's a full-time job. Same thing with MLB. Same thing with MLB. NBA and MLB, you guys have to track so many injuries, and you guys have to be borderline psychoanalytic because it's hard to judge the motivation level. All right, I sent you guys the invites. Let me just. Okay, here we go. Yeah, Lauren, I sent it. I sent it to you, Mike. Okay. Send it. Let me see if maybe I sent it to the wrong Lauren. Yeah, I really wish I bet NBA, man. I don't know if I'd be good at it. That's my main question. I don't know if I'd be good at it because I don't know the fundamental rules to it. Like, I know the fundamental rules, like, to NFL. I don't know the fundamental rules to NBA, and I imagine it might be a little bit more complicated. Lauren, how are you doing?
What's up?
Is everything good?
Yes, I was insanely sick last week, so I missed the show. I missed everything. So I don't even know what the picks were last week. I know what my picks were, but but I'm better. I had, a little sinus, cold, flu thing, whatever the hell was going around, but much better.
Yeah, it was a good week last week. We kind of assumed we were picking the Bengals. Michael Mann sent that message, so.
Yeah, I mean, I told them, and I said, here are my picks. I said I took the Bengals. I actually took the Bengals. I took San Fran. Oh boy, did I get lucky with Jacksonville. Whew. That field goal, man, saved my everything.
Backdoor cover on the Chiefs. Like, that's it's sad when you pick Chiefs games. Like, I don't know. It's just,
oh my God, I got so lucky. Did you see the guy that so before we get into the picks, though, what was it, the week before when the Jags were playing the Chargers, there was a guy that posted, he placed a live bet on the Chargers at halftime to a $1.4 million bet.
No.
Money line to win like 14,500 and lost. Why would you do that? Why? Especially after so recently seeing the Minnesota Vikings thing with the Colts earlier, right? So, like,
hey guys.
Why would there's my man.
Ooh. Did that really happen?
Yeah, true story. Like, if you got 1.4 mil to blow around, like, then obviously just to win 14,500 or something, it was crazy.
No, but that's going to mess him up psychologically. He could have $10 million. I think he'll lose it all because I think he has a problem psychologically.
You think so, right? I mean, for real, that was absolutely insane. So everybody knows I've been on the everyone's asking me. I've been getting messages. Are you still on the Bengals? I mean, what do you think? Of course.
I don't know why people are asking you.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, I'm not, I'm a Saints fan, right? But
it's like you know who she's picking.
Yes, but the Bengals, I tell you guys, time after time again, they are like a fine wine. They get better as the season goes on. Last week, I didn't want to hear any bullshit. This one's out, that one's out, this one's out. It doesn't matter. That team is playing up. Like, they are so much better all the way around fundamentally on both sides of the ball. I mean, if you've got T. Higgins is the number one on any other team. Any other team.
If Christian Kirk getting elite money, imagine T. Higgins.
Oh, exactly. Tyler Boyd's probably a number two on any other team.
Yeah.
And you can double cover one of them. And then you got Hayden Hurst, who's like you said, the X factor. Joe Mixon and Samaj P. Ryan, when they need to, they're going to run the ball. So since he's winning, since he's going to the Super Bowl and they're winning the Super Bowl.
Listen,
and here's the thing. Oh, I'll let you talk, Mike. I talked a lot.
Sorry, Lawson.
No, it's all good. No,
I know you're not a fan of trend betting and like betting based on how previous matchups go. But in these previous matchups, if there's one thing we've seen is that this Chiefs secondary absolutely cannot cover these Bengals receivers. I think we can take that away at least. Would you agree?
Yeah. Well, because we know what Steve does. Like, he just stays a man-to-man and he doesn't try to confuse Joe Burrow.
Yes. They can't cover a man-to-man. If they try zone, Joe Burrow is going to pick them apart. And if they blitz, it's going to get even worse. I see Steve Spagnuolo having no answers for any of these receivers, as he hasn't had the last couple times they've played.
Mike, not trying to change the topic, but people are asking, what are you drinking? And I was actually kind of curious.
It's eggnog. It's left over from Christmas. I got a ton of it.
I just thought it was. I said, is that eggnog? Oh, my God. Is it like
I got a ton of it left over from Christmas, so I'm trying to get through it. Working on
Lauren, it. And you probably – and here's the crazy thing about the Bengals, because when Eli Apple is able to cover Stephon Diggs, and it's harder to cover a receiver in snow. That's where we got it. I just don't know how the Bengals defense does it, and I think they play better than the Chiefs. I think that's what it comes down to.
Well, I'm so glad. I hope they make it through. It'll help my futures bet. What I think I told you guys, I made the futures bet on the Bengals, right? Way long time ago. They're just better. They're better all around. Joe Burrow is so even keeled. He has the same expression on his face, whether they're ahead, behind, up by 30, down by 20. It doesn't matter what the situation is going on in the game. His expression never changes. He is so even keeled. He is definitely, in my book right now, the better quarterback.
And let me ask you a question. I'll ask this both to you guys, because on Instagram yesterday, I had to go off because this 3-point line movement. So for anyone who doesn't know, like, I'm sure you saw the Bengals at -2. Mahomes comes out. I don't even know what the word or adjective to describe what he was doing on that field was, but that comes out in a 3-point swing. I don't know. Are people really getting hoodwinked thinking that he's going to be healthy? I think a YouTube commenter said it best. He's going to be 80% at best. And I don't know if he can even be that with a high ankle sprain.
So listen, Mahomes healthy can't beat the Bengals.
Yeah.
Why are we even talking about the injury?
And Lauren, here's what I'm saying. And I think the injury has a big factor because, firstly, they can't beat them. Secondly, they haven't gotten big plays against the Bengals. Thirdly, their only route to big plays is him scrambling. The rest of it's really underneath stuff.
And last year they had Tyreek Hill to offset Travis Kelce. Who is it this year? I'm sorry. Juju and Valdez and whoever else is over there. It's not going to cut it. It's just not going to cut it. And their run game, I know they, Pacheco and the other kid from San Fran's over there now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
McKinnon. It's not going to be as effective against this Bengals D. And I'm telling you right now, you can beat a team multiple times. You can have their number. Just because it doesn't happen often doesn't mean it doesn't happen ever. It does happen.
Ask the Colts against New England.
Yeah.
Like the Colts, the Colts couldn't beat the Patriots back in the early 2000s for the longest time.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm sure the Chiefs will eventually win one, but I mean, the Bengals definitely have them right now.
Look at Tampa against the Saints up until this year.
Yeah, and like in that specifically, I think we can agree that Tampa Bay definitely the better team.
Sure,
but y'all just knew how to beat them.
Sure, I'm just saying, so it's possible, and I'm just saying, Mahomes is special. We all know that. Mahomes is special. He's an amazing player, but this team is not at the level of the Bengals right now.
That's what I'm saying. It's nothing about Mahomes. It's like
right.
At the end of the day, you need receivers to create separation, and then Mahomes creates separation by buying time, and their offensive line is good, but they're not going to create enough separation. I don't see it.
They're not. And I know that they're home. But you know what? Cincinnati has been the away underdog. I guess now they're a favorite because of the injury, right? But they have been this home underdog. They were pissed that they were selling tickets to this Atlanta game between Buffalo and Kansas City already, basically not even thinking that Cincinnati had a chance. They already found this common ground stadium to have, the AFC Championship. This team has been so undervalued for so long, even last week, up until the Bills game. They've been so undervalued. Nobody wants to give them a chance. And maybe now, after they just punished the Bills at home, and they didn't just win, they beat the shit out of them. You know what I mean? So it wasn't like it was a 3-point overtime, this, that, and the other. They totally took them and ran them into the ground.
Well, Gus comments on Patreon. He says Mahomes on drugs will beat Burrow. I'm sure he's going to be hyped up with Toradol, but
I hope so.
It wears off, and yeah, that's where I'm at.
See, for me,
and maybe he should have been taking Toradol the last 3 times they played. I mean,
For me, the only place where I could see where the Chiefs might have a matchup advantage is on the D line. If the Chiefs D line can actually and I'm saying I'm not saying get to Burrow. I'm saying wreck the game. That's the only chance they really have on defense for me. But what really impressed me about that Bills game too for the Bengals, and this kind of negates my previous point, is that they were actually able to get the run game going and actually stuck to it with some discipline.
Yeah, and Lauren, I'll let you come in real quick, but that's what one narrative I'm kind of getting tired of these last 6-7 weeks is that the Chiefs have a better run game this year than last year. I don't really think it's enough difference to make it. And then, like Mike said, the Bengals run game has actually improved a lot since. Remember how bad it was week 6? It's actually improved a lot, and I think
last year.
Yeah, I think there's going to be better run pass balance.
Well, also, what really used to piss me off about the Bengals is that they would run the ball pointlessly. And, that was Zach Taylor's thing. He'd run the ball for no reason and always put Burrow in these 3rd and longs. And that would constantly kill them. And it seems he's actually learning from that now and is starting to, throw the ball more on 1st down and not use the run unless it's absolutely working, which is good.
And let's be honest, though, when you look at the Chiefs right now, granted, they beat the Jaguars, and congratulations. But they still didn't cover. However you look at it, garbage time counts, right? So, I mean, you've got the Cincinnati beat Baltimore. They beat Buffalo. You know what I'm saying? They haven't lost since October.
Yeah.
I mean, who else are you going to throw in front of them? What makes anybody think they're going to lose now? Now, here's the thing. The Chiefs got the home field advantage. Great. This might come to, and I'm not saying that Cincy's going to beat the shit out of them. This might come down to overtime. This might be some sort of closer game. I would much rather like it if they were an underdog, because I think that they laugh at it every time they are. But, even if Mahomes at 80% is just as effective. He's just as effective. He's at 80%. He's going to, you know what I mean? He's still going to do the Mahomes thing. So I don't want to hear that, 80%. Half the time I wake up and I'm 80% healthy. I mean,
yeah. You know what? You're really gonna hate if the Bengals win. If is people saying that Mahomes was hurt, yeah, and that's the only reason they're in the Super Bowl.
I mean, who's ever really 100%? Anybody ever?
Yeah, exactly. It's the NFL.
This time in the season, is anybody really 100% right now?
Yeah, no one. What do you think of the over?
What is it? Is it 47?
47
Yeah,
still.
47.
Let me double check, because
I think it was 47.
it's been that way all week, but this game has had some insane live moments, so just let me check it. It's at a 47.5.
You know what? I actually think it might go under, because I don't think either team's going to go for the big play. And unless we get some turnovers, I don't see either team hitting a ton of big plays in this game.
I feel like it's right where it needs to be. I'm feeling like 27-20. I feel like it's almost right. I feel like, what I think this week, Vegas has these numbers right on the dot.
Yes, they do.
They're good. Man.
I feel like this week, the overs, the unders, the point spread, everything is really where it needs to. Now, I could be wrong, but everything is, in my opinion, right where it needs to be. I think 27-20. I could see 27-23. I could something along those lines. I don't know about the over. I wouldn't touch the over, because I think that both teams are going to utilize their run game more than they have. So that kind of slows things down a little bit.
They'll drain the clock. Yep.
My opinion only, but I don't think I could really touch that over under. But if I were to guess the score, I'm going to guess 27-20. So I think it's right where it needs to be.
I don't have a score prediction for this one. I didn't think that far ahead.
Yeah,
I'm just throwing it off the top of my head.
Yeah, I don't like to do that.
Yeah, well, good luck.
I know Lawson does.
It's tough, man. It's let's get to the other game, because you said everything you needed to say.
I think so. I mean, I pretty, told you guys. Everyone pretty much knew that I was going to, that I was going to take Cincinnati. If you didn't know, you haven't seen me on every week.
Yeah, and just one last thing I want to say before we move on to the San Fran game, because I want your guys' opinion. The Jaguars did not play a good game last week. They really
lost so many opportunities there. They left so much out there. They really had the opportunity to take over that game, and they came out playing strong, actually.
Jamal Agnew fumbled the ball without getting touched. That's the definition of playing bad.
I know.
And Mike, like I said to you on Instagram, how do you let Travis Kelce get 14 or 15 catches? They'll be 5 and 7, and they just let him dump it off, and then I just wanted to say that.
Ask the Raiders. They allow that, every game.
Yeah. Jarrett Hart wants to know your opinion on Frank Reich. I'll give my opinion first. Gosh. Frank Reich is new head coach of the Carolina Panthers. Firstly, that's going to open up a bunch of lawsuits for the NFL. So I just want everyone to be prepared for an off season with lots of controversy. Secondly, I felt like it was a bad hire, because everyone gets kind of autistic in the off season. hire offensive guy, offense get better. And so people have those type of thinkings. Like for me, man, I would not want Frank Reich developing a quarterback. I am concerned about it, and I am concerned the way he used his talent. Also, Lauren mentioned before, I don't know if Mike mentioned, but we've mentioned on this show many a times, this Colts team had an issue with motivation even when they were good. And listen, like there's just like a lot of Bible verses coming from him, like using the Bible to rationalize his connection with Carson Wentz. Like, listen, and I'm someone who believes, but at a certain point, using that as your motivation tactics kind of leads to stuff like Jacksonville in 2022. So that's where I'm at. I think it's a bad hire, and I think it sends like a wrong precedence. I'm not even trying to get into like the controversy of it about, you know, the skin color and whatnot. But I had the same feeling. Even Mike had the same feeling when the Browns passed over Greg Williams, when he had a similar type of second half to his season. And then also, you know, Panthers are looking at like a number 9 pick. And at a certain point, when do they find some young blood to come in here on offense and then just let Steve Wilkes do the defense? Like, I didn't understand why it was such like a crazy thing from me just thinking that. And at a certain point, the Panthers, if they got Sean Payton, no one would like bitch. But right, people are going bitch. I'll let Mike talk.
Okay, I understand the logic in this hire. I understand what Tepper's trying to do. He's been saying that he wanted an offensive-minded head coach for years. So I don't think this is some massive disrespect to Steve Wilkes. I think this is more of just what Tepper likes in a head coach because he's been preaching it for so long. But at the same time, listen, Wilkes should have got this gig, like straight up. I mean, if you watched last year, I mean, the way the Panthers finished the season after starting 1-5, when Wilkes took over, like he had no business not getting this job. I mean, when you look at how hard that team fought for him, how they came together and rallied at the end of the year, how they beat teams like the Lions, you know, and the Seahawks, teams that they had no business competing against, and nearly won the division because of it after having the number 1 overall pick or projecting to have the number 1 overall pick. You know, this was Wilkes' job. He earned the right to that job for at least a season, and he got passed over for it. I think that's wrong. As far as Frank Reich goes, as a coach, I think it's a meh hire. I don't hate it, but I don't love it. I really couldn't care less. If you told me you're going to lose Frank Reich today, I'd be like, all right, cool, whatever. But I thought Wilkes should have this job. That's my main takeaway. Wilkes deserved this, and he didn't get it.
Lauren, but you don't care. That's probably the country just doesn't give a fuck.
You saw Steve Wilkes beat you with Sam Darnold completing 2 passes. I know you're happy that he's gone.
Frank Reich, in my opinion, you know, I feel like he's getting blamed for everything that happened in Indy.
That is a good point.
And I don't think that's fair. So I don't think Jeff Saturday was the answer either, but over there, you know, Indy's right up there with other teams that make horrible decisions. So, I mean, listen, Frank Reich could do some good things for you guys. He's won in the past. He's done good things in the past. But do I think Wilkes should have lost his job? No. I also don't think Lovie Smith should have lost his job in Houston.
Yeah.
So,
well, that was a tank job. That's different.
That was bad what happened to David Culley and Lovie Smith. I just want to say one last thing because people want us to talk about San Fran Eagles, of course. Mike, when the season ended, a few days after the season, did you see what your Carolina Panthers did?
On what?
Your Carolina Panthers gave Frank Reich's daughter a job.
Oh, yes, I did see that. That was kind of like the first tipping point to that. Maybe we were thinking about that.
Anyways, 49ers against Eagles. 49ers.
Listen, all we need is a quarterback in New Orleans, and we'll be all right. Listen, Jimmy G needs a home.
I've been trying to find a quarterback for 5 years. That's not just an easy fix. And y'all don't have a first-round pick.
Yet. Yes. Sean Payton is on the market, and we're getting something for him. So you know. So
all right.
God bless us, everyone.
We can talk about that later, but we should get to this game.
Yeah,
On to
49ers and Eagles.
Eagles. Who wants to start?
Okay, I got
That's my
Eagles, but
thoughts.
this is
Of
listen.
course he does. Of course he does.
Yeah, of course he does. But listen, I won't lie though. I'm nervous picking the Eagles. Anytime you pick against a team that has 12 straight wins, like you can't walk in here feeling confident. For me, I just feel like the Eagles are going to win third down. Like I don't like this the San Francisco secondary going up against AJ Brown and Devontae Smith. They've had a real problem covering number one wide receivers over the course of the season, and I kind of see that happening again here on third downs. As far as the other side of the ball goes, like Purdy's due to have a bad game, right? Have you seen in the last couple of weeks? He hasn't had any turnovers, but like you could see, like he's gotten a little lucky with it. Especially against Seattle, I really thought he should have had a few. And this Eagles defense, the way they blitzed Daniel Jones, the way they just completely got after him, I think they're going to do the same thing with Purdy. I think they should be able to cover San Fran's outside wide receivers.
San Francisco is not the Giants. Honey.
Yes, I know that, but my point is, you see how the Eagles how the Eagles defense desires to get after the quarterback, how they desire to blitz him and really get in his face. And I think with Purdy, with a young quarterback like that, that's how you get the turnovers out of him.
No, but Mike, I do want to co-sign that. Purdy does float it over the middle a lot. So I have seen that the last 4 weeks, but the kid
doesn't have to do much.
And yeah, that's true.
You just don't want to see CMC get a ring.
I do want to see him get a ring.
Because this was his ticket out of there.
I do want him to get a ring.
Okay, so that he can
I'm rooting for him.
So listen, I have been on Philly all year. Jalen was my pick for MVP at the beginning of the year. And they are a great team, and they deserve to be in this game. However, if we're going to compare team versus team, Philly's got two things going for them right now. Home field and the better quarterback. It's not enough.
What about on the outside? I think Philly wins the outside.
Listen to me. When you have Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown are dogs, they are great. They are Dallas Goedert, they're great. When you go up against the San Francisco defense, it is going to be like nothing you've ever seen for this team. Okay? Nothing you've ever seen. So, and all Brock Purdy's got to do is give it to Christian McCaffrey, give it to Eli Mitchell, give it to George Kittle, send it to Debo. How many more people? Brandon Ayuk, the other guy that they're throwing over there too. There's like 9 guys on offense that are scoring for this team.
But okay,
you can't double cover George Kittle, Brandon Ayuk, Debo Samuel, Christian McCaffrey. You can't get them all.
Have you seen Philly's secondary though?
Yeah.
They can take away those wide receivers. Now, I don't know how the heck they're going to cover Kittle and McCaffrey. That is a problem. I will admit that.
I just told you. But how are you going to get Kittle, McCaffrey, and Debo?
Debo, I think Slay or Bradbury can at least contain Debo Samuel a little bit. Same goes for Ayuk. Those corners, I think, can neutralize them enough. Now, as far as Kittle and McCaffrey goes, that's where the problem is. Because Philly's never really valued the linebacker position that much, and I think that's why their run defense has been suffering this year.
So,
no, it's the problem. I mean, it's the last team. And like, listen, like people were trying to challenge me in the comment section all week about the Philly run defense, but I also want them to remember the perspective of games. Up 17-0 after the first quarter, you're not going to get a lot of run stats against you.
And then you've got Christian McCaffrey, Miles Sanders, Kenneth Gainwell. Was that his name? You know what I mean? Great against the Giants. Wonderful against the Giants. Kudos to you.
No, that's Boston Scott, the Giant killer.
Okay, Boston Scott, whoever. And then you've got CMC and Elijah Mitchell. And Debo half the time runs the ball. I mean, who on earth is going to stop that San Francisco run game? Not them.
So are you feeling confident about this? Like you'll put in a 49ers ticket?
Already did.
You keep saying that. You keep saying that who's going to stop McCaffrey, but like I'm curious to know, do you just see this 49ers offense gashing Philadelphia like the entire game?
No, I think it's a low-scoring game. I think it's heavy running. I'm going with like
you're saying like a wearing down.
Yes.
Kind of dominance. Okay.
They're gonna wear them down, and then of course if they win, it's because Jalen was only 80% his shoulder, yada yada yada, whatever. So I mean, do I think Jalen's the better quarterback? 1,000%. He deserves it. You know that Philly team is nasty. They are so good, but San Francisco has just a little bit more with playmakers, and that's going to be the key right there. And I'm going to be honest with you. I think the coaching with Shanahan, I mean, he's been winning for 12 weeks with 3 different quarterbacks. You know,
he should be coach of the year.
Give this man some credit. He will have a plan for everything. So, I mean, you know, just
I think the hard thing about picking this game is that like both sides of the ball in the trenches are just so good. And when you have that, it's kind of hard to differentiate who's going to win. I think Philly's going to win at least looking at it from their defensive perspective because of how much they blitz and how much they make an emphasis to get after their quarterback. The Niners, don't get me wrong.
49ers, though.
Say again?
I wouldn't blitz against the 49ers because then you lose your run fits. So it's risky blitzing.
Well, on third down.
If you know Purdy's passing, then send it.
Yeah, that's what I'm suggesting. The Niners, they don't really blitz all that much, though. Like, if you watch their games, they're really good in their zones, but they don't blitz a whole lot. And that's kind of the way you have to beat Jalen Hurts. Like, he struggles. Well, I wouldn't say struggles, but he's not as great against the blitz as he is just in, like, you know, against typical zone.
And they're not going to be able to run it for 12 to 13 yards against San Francisco's defense like they did against the Giants.
I don't see that.
You're not going to get Kenneth Gainwell coming up the middle because, you know, Miles Sanders was blocked, you know, not on the field. It's not happening.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Jalen might get some running. I would take a bet on Jalen a little bit of running, but you can only do that so many times against the San Francisco D before all of a sudden you either get Hurts gets hurt, or because he's gonna have to protect himself. This San Francisco D is nasty.
Well, I agree with Dime Betting in the chat. Like he says, the Niners' weakness is the deep shot. I agree, and big Hurts fan here. But
me too.
This is one part that bothered me about the Eagles season. I feel like they started better in terms of the passing game. They used to throw it downfield like 6-7 times a game. Felt like as the year went on, they got away from that, and they're not going to be able to pound the 49ers like you said. So I think they have to throw it. I just don't think they're going to throw it enough, but I could be wrong. And like Lauren said, I wanted to ask you guys about the Sirianni-Shanahan matchup. I wonder how much that has relevance. I just think Shanahan's going to eat them. Wow.
I do too. And I like Sirianni, but I definitely think that Shanahan is going to – he has a very Sean Payton-like mentality and does a lot of crafty things.
That's a good comparison.
He is. He's up there. Him, Sean Payton. You know, there's a few that are in their own. No, traveling.
Though I will say, I wasn't too much of a fan of what some of the stuff Shanahan was doing against the Cowboys in terms of kicking all those field goals. I didn't like that, and I don't think you can do that against the Eagles. Especially like if they have a quarter where the Eagles just explode like they typically do, where they put up 14, 10 points in a quarter. Like I don't think you can sit there and just punt the ball on 4th downs or kick field goals voluntarily on 4th and short.
And if George Kittle is not catching the ball and running it in for a touchdown, he's blocking and suplexing somebody on the freaking field. So let's be honest here. So when it comes to the blocking and things like that for Purdy, you might be able to throw almost anybody at quarterback. I'm not saying that the kid doesn't deserve, accolades and credit, but you surround yourself with MVPs and all-stars, you're going to be successful too.
Okay. Yeah, and like I said, the only weakness on San Fran is on their defense is the secondary. I just don't think the Eagles are going to go gusto, like 3 wide receivers, Goddard working over in the middle and really pushing it. I think we'll see how they start, though. I worry about the Eagles getting up in this game, and then if the Eagles get up, it could get ugly. But 49ers should have a good defensive plan. So.
But and that's the thing about it is, do you really want to start slinging it down the field against that, against the 49ers?
I think Philly might see, like, in my opinion, like, if you're the Eagles, you have to recognize coming in here that you're not going to be able to run for 250 yards like you did against the Giants. It wouldn't surprise me if they came out and started throwing to open the game, and then slowly got into running the ball. And to be fair, against the Giants, they did pass a lot in the first quarter. Like, I think Hurts started 7 for 7, 8 for 8 in the first quarter.
They were behind.
The Eagles?
No, the Giants were behind.
No. What I'm saying is, to start the game, the Eagles were actually throwing the ball a lot.
Oh, the Eagles, yeah.
Yeah, that's my point I'm making. And they didn't start running the ball until they got up, and then they just pounded the crap out of the Giants, and the Giants suck and couldn't stop them.
Well, we all know that the Giants, all they had to do was beat Minnesota, and that was going to be their Super Bowl right there.
Oh,
right,
come on. Don't do that to
kind of like their Super Bowl.
Some of us called that. Some of us called that. But we knew they were going to be a one and done.
Oh, come on, Lauren. The disrespect.
What? Am I not the one that said that the Giants was me and the other guy that came on, the Dallas Cowboys fan?
I said that I think we all picked the Vikings. Someone have to check, but I think we all picked the Vikings. But I think we were all
not me. No.
You picked the Giants.
No. Me and the Dallas Cowboys fan who's in that little studio in his bedroom. When it was the 4 of us, we both picked the Giants.
All right, that's you. I said they were on upset alert. I didn't pick them, but
but listen, this week though, the Philly. I'm not dogging Philly. I said from the beginning of the year that was the team to beat. Jalen for MVP. I called it. I said it on this show. He was amazing. He's going to have a good year, and he's had a good year. He had an injury at the wrong time. It didn't mean anything last week. He's fine now. But defense wins games, and I really think that San Fran's got just a little bit more in playmakers. I think it's going to be a damn good game. I did take the points because I like the underdog in this, but I wouldn't be surprised either way. I just think San Fran has a little bit more when it comes to playmakers. And that to me means a lot.
Yeah, I'm going to get Campbell Jones on right now.
Yeah, get him on.
Then we'll call it a night. You finally got your chance.
Oh, I think he's been looking for his,
hey guys.
What's up, man?
invite.
Michael, I do. Okay, can I go back to the Bengals Chiefs game? I want to talk about the game first, if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
So I had the Chiefs game to win. The Chiefs win, the Bengals to cover. Lord, you're gonna be right. I had the Bengals to cover, okay? But I'm worried about Mahomes' injury last week, and it was bad, right? Right, Michael? But when I watched last week's game, I thought Jags did pull the upset. I think they had a good season, but I think the Chiefs are gonna win this game this Sunday night. I'm really nervous, guys.
You're picking the Chiefs?
Yeah, the Chiefs. I'm completely nervous because I am a Chiefs fan for the playoffs. I want the Chiefs to win it all this year.
Long-time Chiefs fan, Colin.
Yeah. Well, to see what happened to Buccaneers and the Cowboys, Tom Brady was bad in that game. Did you guys watch that game?
Yeah, I saw it.
We moved on from that.
Yeah, we're past that. Tampa sucks. We all knew that.
Yeah.
Michael, can I ask you a question for a sec?
Sure, boss. What's up?
How you feel about Frank Wright hire for the Panthers?
I don't love it, but I don't hate it. To be honest, I don't care. It is what it is. I'm not overly excited. I don't think he's gonna suck either. It's just
I think it's Tepper. I think it's Tepper. I think Tepper is an interesting owner.
Yeah, he's an interesting owner, all right. That's one way to put it.
I agree. Lauren, how are you? How you feel?
Hi, I'm much better this week. Thank you.
Yeah, sorry.
Much better.
Yeah, I just go home straight for work. So, yeah, it could be good. But so I think the Chiefs is gonna be good. I think Bengals Chiefs good game. What's the score gonna be like, you guys? Give me the score prediction. Lawson, you go first. What's the score?
I said mine already. 27-20 is what mine was.
I'm with
maybe 27-23. 27-23. 27-20. Well, no,
I'm going
fine.
24-20.
I got the Chiefs 30. It's gonna be close. I got the Chiefs 30. Bengals 24. That's close, right?
Wow. So you got all out shootout.
You're going against me?
Yeah, I am.
You're going against my Bengals?
I am.
Yeah,
I
man.
got the Chiefs.
I'm glad someone did it.
Hold on a second. You're going against Joe Burrows, who hasn't lost a game since October?
I am. Yeah, I like Joe Burrow. He's a good quarterback, but I don't see him.
Joe Cool? You're going against Joe Cool?
He's gonna lose.
I have
Accept
to,
it.
guys. I have to learn.
Oh, my
I
man.
have to. This is bad. Do you remember last year's AFC Conference Championship game? The Bengals the Chiefs almost beat the Bengals last year, right?
Yeah, the Chiefs kind of choked that game away.
Yeah, they have to.
They've almost beat the Bengals like four times. Almost.
Yeah, exactly. They've to be fair, like this is real talk, but all these games have been close. Like again, the Chiefs Bengals games. Like it's not like the Bengals have just completely dominated them the whole time.
You know, the best playoff game I ever watched was Chargers and Jags. That was a good game.
Yeah, it was really fucking fun.
Yeah. Okay. Niners, Eagles. Let's talk about this right now. So, I have the Eagles to win and to cover. Okay.
Thank you.
I got the Eagles to win the cover on Sunday.
Man, you have no respect for me whatsoever, man.
I'm sorry, but this is funny.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah. When someone let me ask you something. So I work for Dotura. I've been there for 6 years, by the way. Love it.
What job?
Yeah. It's an oil place, like when they put oil.
Oh, that's neat.
Yeah, I like that job. I work at one of my best friends, Josh Meek, said this is what I told him. I told him, are you going to pick the Bengals or the Chiefs? And he said he's picking the Chiefs this week. And also he's picking the Eagles too.
Well, that's great for your buddy, but it's good for your buddy. But somebody, there's going to be some broken hearts this weekend. It could be mine.
It'd be
so funny.
I think Joe. You know what, Lauren? Can I ask you something very quick?
What's that?
I think Joe was going to throw 2 picks against the Chiefs defense.
That's bold, man.
You think
I don't
Joe Burrow? Has he even thrown 2 all year?
I watch him, but I watch Joe Burrow throw just a couple of picks. But
okay, hold on a second. So I know there's not very many people that are not a Cincy fan that don't follow Cincinnati as much as I do. Okay, so I'm gonna tell you right now, Joe Burrow might have thrown maybe 4 picks all year.
He threw 5 against the Steelers. Don't forget about that game.
Great.
But he hasn't thrown. I don't think he's thrown. I think he's might have thrown like 2 since like week 6. But I gotta ask him a question. Campbell, do you bet? Do you have a FanDuel account?
No, I don't. What's a FanDuel account, Lawson? Can you tell me what a FanDuel account is?
Oh, it's just you don't see the commercials.
Well, just for the Super Bowl on TV, okay. But
how do you watch the games?
Well, I watch the games on. Well, I go to ESPN, just look at the scores.
You don't actually watch the games?
No, because on Sundays I do have church because I can't.
But how long are you in church for?
So from 12:30 to 2:30, and I go. So my work starts at 2:30, and we end at 2:30. So it's a 2-hour church.
But that's when the game. You can still watch the games, but you don't like watching NFL, right?
I do, but I will watch it on TV when I get home.
But you said you don't watch the games.
Well, I do. I just look at the scores, okay? I just look at the scores. Because last Sunday, I went on ESPN because I do have that, right? So, hey, Lawson, how's Brazil? Is it cold up there?
Oh, it's good. But I'm more surprised you dropped a bombshell here that you don't watch the games.
No, well, I do watch this called Gamecast. This Gamecast on ESPN.
Game Pass.
Oh yeah. Gamecast.
But hey, how close do you think this Niners Eagles would be? What's the score gonna be like? How close do you think this game would be, guys?
I have 17-16.
2017.
17. You're in the teens?
Yeah, I went with a really low prediction. I think we're gonna see some field goals from the Niners. Think that the Eagles are gonna have a good quarter, and that's all it's really gonna take.
Hey, I got a question for you about Tom Brady. Which team could Tom Brady sign? Could he sign with the Raiders? Could he sign with the 49ers, the Jets, or back to Patriots? What do you guys think?
He's not going back to the Patriots.
I think he's going where Sean Payton goes.
If Tom Brady signs for the Raiders, how can he beat Mahomes?
He won't. I see like that. Honestly, the Raiders might be the most likely place, but it's kind of hard to see him going there because the Chiefs are in that division. Like I've heard some people say that Sean Payton wants to go to Denver, but like, does Sean Payton really want to get thrown in that pool with the Chiefs?
That ship has sailed. I think Payton is going to Arizona.
Yeah, that might be that.
I hadn't heard that, but that would be interesting.
Hey, I have some breaking news I want to tell you guys this morning. When I saw the compare, how do you think about Mike LaFleur? What do you think about LaFleur Hackett being hired as a Jets offensive coordinator? Is this a good move for?
Oh, the Hackett hire! Oh my gosh, that was so stupid. Did y'all see that?
I saw that. It was a bad move.
That was actually that was stupid.
I agree. Hey, what do you guys think about DeMarco Ryans being hired as a Texas head coach? Is this better than Lovie Smith?
You should turn it down because if you have leverage like him, being the 49ers defensive coordinator, you should leverage that into something better. Like Ben Johnson turned down Mike's Panthers, which I felt like was like bold.
He didn't turn down. He just went back to Detroit.
Hang on a second, too. Somebody just put in the chat Brady to the Bengals. What is going on right now?
Joe Burrow
sucks.
Joe Burrow sucks.
I mean,
I'm just kidding.
what
I
is
think he's really good.
All right, guys, I have to go anyway. So nice
I
talking to you. So, Lauren, before you go, you have Bengals 49ers.
I do. I have Bengals 49ers. Go ahead there.
And
the opposite there, Mike.
And
I've got Bengals Eagles, so not the total opposite.
For me, I have Chiefs Eagles.
Thank you for coming on, everyone. Good night.
Thanks
for having us, Mike.
Good to see you, man.
Listen, Lawson. Wait a minute, Lawson. Are you going to do a live stream during one of the games?
I'm thinking about it.
I'm there if you do. I'm 100% there.
Make sure it's the Cincy game.
Dude, oh my gosh, that'd be so legendary.
Wait a minute. Hold on. I'm coming. Wait a minute. We're all coming back during the game.
Imagine if Joe Burrow throws a pick six and Lauren's just crying on here. Oh my gosh, that'd be hilarious. That'd be great content.
Or imagine the score's 27-0 Cincy at halftime and Lauren's not crying.
We'll just be drinking beer and eggnog.
All right, I'll see you all Sunday. I gotta
go. Are you going live?
Hit the like button, share the videos. Hope everyone has a good night. Thank you for watching. And Turk, I missed your question. Turk, I missed your question, but that's a good teaser. That's a good teaser. The teaser you posted with Chiefs and Niners, because I think it's one score.